You know those games that require constant updates and online connections? Well, they're nearing their downfall. Sort of. Today guys, we're going to take a dive into why live service games are becoming increasingly unpopular to gamers worldwide, and why developers and publishers should stop producing them. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Live service games have been popular in the gaming industry for quite some time. Games like Fortnite, Apex Legends and Destiny were some of the biggest games with a large player base, and they attracted a lot of companies to do the same, creating a business model that appeared to be quite sustainable. For example, companies like Ubisoft brought out live service games such as The Division, and turned games that were once optionally online or offline games such as Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six into online only games. The popularity of live service games has even drawn the attention of Sony, who are known for their single player exclusives, to develop some of their own online only games, with them planning to release over 10 of them in the next 3 years. And they acquired Destiny creators Bungie in 2022 for support and development for some of those games. These live service games, however, require constant updates, maintenance and a decent network connection to keep players engaged. However, it seems that the era of live service games is beginning to decline, as over several live service games have either been confirmed to be shut down or already have shut down their servers in the past few months, such as Knockout City, Wombleverse, Echoes of Mana, Crossfire X, Echo VR, Apex Legends Mobile, Battlefield Mobile and Crystal Dynamics Marvel's Avengers. All of this and many other factors have led to gamers having disbelief and distrust in the sustainability of live service games. According to the game developers though, live service games are cheaper to create but require a lot of resources and money to maintain. Not only do they need to constantly create new content, but they also need to provide support to the players. This can become a major burden for the smaller studios, hence why we're seeing more of them develop single player games rather than the live service games that the top publishers and studios tend to produce. The live service model is also negative from the critique standpoint, as critics argue that live service games often lack quality content and rely on microtransactions for financial income. And let's be honest, some live service games are just downright predatory. I mean, just look at how microtransactions, loot boxes and pay-to-win models have ruined the game experience for many. Look at EA and what they nearly got themselves into when they implemented loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront and FIFA. The stuff they were doing with the games and etc. attracted the EU and other governments to them, and it could have put EA in hot water. And when I look at them now after those events, I think they are in a better place now than they were in a few years ago, although many gamers still hate EA for what they have done in the past. But these microtransactions and pay-to-win models create an uneven playing field that gives those who are willing to spend the money and can afford it a significant advantage. And as a result, players who cannot afford the money for those things are becoming more and more hesitant to invest the time in playing such games. The high costs of maintenance and low quality content is not the only reason for the downfall of live service games, as the negativity also stems from the negative press and the general dissatisfaction from gamers. However, because of the social media platforms we have now, most players are not afraid to express their disappointment and anger on these platforms, and they have the confidence to voice their opinions that stand out from the rest of the crowd, not just about the game they don't like, but video games in general. Those gamers don't care what critics or reviewers say about a game, whenever it's the positive side or the opposite side. And publishers nowadays appear to pay attention to the review scores and sometimes what every gamer says on social media. They take everything they say seriously, and while some remain stubborn and decide to push on unless the player base drops sharply or there is a massive backlash, the others just see the negativity and they announce that they are shutting down the servers of the game and then delist the games off the storefronts in a remarkably short time. The decline of online-only games is also increasing due to the reliance of single-player games. In 2018, when Epic's free-to-play game Fortnite took the world by storm, the future of the offline single-player game genre was really in doubt. But thanks to Sony, Rockstar Games and a few others, Single player games were having a renaissance in that year. Marvel Spider-Man, God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 all went to become some of the top selling games of 2018. And I have to say that as gamers move towards more story driven single player games, the need of live service games is plummeting every year. And while there are obviously plenty of reasons for this, the key things that played the main role in the live service model diminishing is replay value and money. Although the vast majority of live service games are free to purchase, the studios make money from the purchases made inside of the game, such as the purchasing of certain weapons, equipment, in-game credits and DLC. But no matter how much content they put out, it is never going to be enough to convince most players to change their minds, as online games will never have much replay value as single player games. Take Mass Effect for example, one of the best selling single player game franchises currently. Its replay value is extremely high, as most people including me have probably played it for the 100th time already. The same goes for other single player games out there as well. It's no wonder gamers are ditching these types of games for the more traditional experiences. And this is why the games that released on PS1, PS2, PS3 will always have the best experiences and create more nostalgia for players, because these games created certain memories that you and I will never forget. And them games did not require a good internet connection or constant releasing of content to be enjoyed. And what these big publishers and studios should do instead of focusing on the live service model is create more couch co-op games if their aim is to draw more people to play with other people. Because this is the other thing I'm noticing, as apart from the obvious games like FIFA, there is barely any games where you can invite your friends around or have a family member sit on the couch and play games. It is either you play alone or you play online with someone. I just don't understand it. The local multiplayer experience is what made Nintendo survive, and is why the Switch is selling so many units more than the older consoles that came before in such a shorter amount of time. It is why the Wii was so much more popular than the PS3 and Xbox 360, despite them having double the number of games than the Wii. But these studios and publishers need to realise that the live service model is not the way to go, and they need to acknowledge that the majority of gamers are not behind that model. And in order for these gaming companies to succeed in the industry, they will need to put the effort and focus on creating quality games with memorable and engaging experiences. Gamers these days just want games they can play at their own pace without having to worry about internet connections, server issues and constant updates. So, what should the real future of gaming be? You guys can drop your answers in the comments below, because I'm curious on what everyone thinks, but I will say that it shouldn't be about 8K visuals and games that require constant internet connections. It should be about focusing more on what the gaming community wants, not what is cheapest in the company's eyes, because what the gaming community wants equals more profit for the publisher and studio, as it will draw more people than what the gaming company wants, right? Giving more value to the player means the player will be more likely to buy the game than if it was the other way round. Anyway, developers and publishers need to focus on creating truly engaging and immersive games, not finding opportunities to get more money out of gamers. It's just not worth it, as that is just going to cause more problems than there already is, especially now when there's a cost of living crisis going on, and those who still play games despite the crisis now look at games that they can just buy once and not need to pay more fully to enjoy the game. It's time for a radical change now, and the industry already seems to be moving in that direction, as upcoming games including Starfield, Spider-Man 2 and many more are games that have been confirmed to be single player only games. And we also just had Jedi Survivor arriving on the scene, and we had Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 have their respective remakes out in the wild, proving that creating single player game experiences is worth the effort and time. And while it will be long to wait for the studios to make these solo focused AAA games, they should focus on making it worth waiting for. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like if you haven't already, subscribe and smash the bell button for notifications, and I'll see you next time. Take care.